And so for me, the link between gender justice and climate justice is, one, we cannot win this fight single-handedly. So to understand that the roots of the climate crisis, the roots of really the global crisis, are based so many years back in patriarchy, in the diminishing, the cancellation almost, or diminishing of women's roles. Because what colonialism did to us is, and this is patriarchal colonialism, yes, what it did to us is that it not only kicked us from our lands, it also made men more powerful than women in the colonial system. And so women were kind of left behind. And for me, it doesn't mean that for gender justice that women need to be, for example, seeking spaces within that patriarchal colonial system. No, it's for women to show that a different world where no one is where it's not hierarchical, no one is above another. We are working together, we are working in flow, we are restoring the complementarity of our roles, the complementarity of the things that we bring to this world. So I think there's an absolute link when you're calling for climate justice, when really you're calling for justice, you're calling for a transition to a system that is not based in extraction. You're calling for a system that is not based on one-sidedness, that is not based on a single idea of what the world is.
Climate justice! Power to the people! Cause the people got the power.
Seeming like just a lot of hot air, a lot of big words, that there's no real commitment to doing something about the climate crisis.
Keep polluters out, let the people in. Keep polluters out, let the people in.
When we were at this action, a white Spanish officer, UN officer, kicked me in the back and absolutely refused to apologize. So to me, it really brought together the violence inflicted on women's bodies, the violence inflicted on African women's bodies, racialized people's bodies, for this man to have felt that he could kick me and nothing would happen because he kicked me and smiled. But it also really brought home, it paralleled the exact kicking out of lands that indigenous people, colonized peoples have gone through, have suffered across the world. So just that one moment really crystallized the kind of space that the UN actually is, the kind of space that the COP actually is, to uphold such racism, such patriarchy, such colonialism, and for it to fly, for it to be okay, for it to not faze anyone. And so for me it was like, absolutely, you cannot have a response to this climate crisis without it being also enacting justice for women, for racialized minorities, for colonized peoples, for indigenous peoples. It has to happen together. Yeah. So what this action and then what happened after the action really brought home for me is the necessity, the absolute crucialness of indigenous medicine. So right afterward, there were this group of hermanas from the US, from Mexico, I think maybe also from the Pacific Islands, who had plant medicine with them. They had smudge with them, and they knew Spirit bless them, they knew that after that kind of violence, I was not okay. And of course, after that colonial violence, as so many of us have lived through, after that patriarchal violence, we are not okay. We absolutely need healing. And so they smudged me and we cried together. And then the other things that I've been doing are the other aspects of Indigenous medicine for me, a movement. So yesterday I went to a dance class, breathing, talking, conversation, singing is also very important. So, calling all of that Indigenous medicine, because if we truly want to build a world that is different to this world, that doesn't replicate the violence of this world, and to me that is a real risk. It is. You cannot say that you have not been affected by the trauma of the system we currently live in. So you must heal that. We absolutely must heal that on individual and collective community levels if we're going to build a world that is based on something different, that delivers something different, that actually enacts and is just and justice. So, yeah.